Okay, well, congratulations. You're the new face of it. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Yes, one of the many. I guess there's so many characters in this video game. I'm happy to be one of them.
Well, that's great. I mean, I've always wondered how it works with actors, because with video games, do they just use your facial like motion capture, or how does it work? How does it work with when an actor takes on a role in a video game?
Right, but this is my second video game. The first video game that I did a few years ago, they did motion capture. So I came in and I wore an outfit, a suit with all these reflective dots on it, and then I wore headgear with a camera that captured my facial expressions while I was doing the scenes with the other actors. But they didn't use my face in that game. You see the character in the game, and it sounds like me, and it uses my movement and my mannerisms, but it wasn't my face. This one, they actually scanned my face and went through a series of body scans as well, so that basically he looks just like me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wondered about these video games is they look exactly like the actor. And obviously it makes sense. We have like a big name. So the fact that they're using current actors instead of just recreating somebody, out of out of the blue.
Well, they did in this game, and if you look at some of the trailers, they actually recreated Ronald Reagan, Alexander Haig. They recreated some very historical figures. And in some of the previous versions of Call of Duty, they brought JFK back to life. So they are able to do that, and they bring in actors who can mimic and also be able to do the voice as like Ronald Reagan or Alexander Haig. My character was primarily used in the multiplayer and zombies. So they didn't use my voice, but they used my likeness in the game.
Oh, okay. So as far as an actor, is this a good gig nowadays?
It can be. It can be. I mean, it's, I guess for me, being more of a fan of the franchise, Call of Duty franchise, to be now one of the characters in the game is, it brings me back to my childhood, having been a lifelong gamer myself. So to actually be involved in something that I'm a fan of and see my face and then get the text messages and screenshots that my friends are sending me as they or their friend or their kids are playing me on the game, it's really exciting.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Are you a gamer? So that kind of answers that. It looks like you have a really cool setup there.
Oh yeah, no, I got my green screen. Nowadays, especially with how we're forced to stay at home and we don't have the luxury of being able to go into casting office for auditions as actors now, we have to take on the role of, cinematographer, sound engineer, lighting engineer, background. And so we've had to create these home studios out of the comfort of our own home to be able to submit auditions and also do some work from home.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this. I just saw an interview right now on TV, and I just noticed that directors have the worst lighting on Zoom. And I'm like, you're directors. What's wrong with you guys?
Right? Well, because usually directors, we're focused on, because I've been shadowing and I'm interested in directing myself. But as a director, you're focused on, the content, the setting up of the story. And you usually leave things like sound and lighting to the professionals, which are your lighting and your sound, director of sound and director of photography. So that's usually not so much a worry. But yeah, it's interesting now as actors we're having to take on all those roles now.
I ask you, you're a veteran, military veteran. So this game, is it true to life? I mean, do they do their research really well?
They do their research, and they do have, some consultants on staff that come in and help. And they do listen to a lot of prior military and current military advisors to kind of make sure it's real to life. Granted, this game is supposed to take place in the 80s during the Cold War, the 70s, 80s. So, they wanted to bring that realism into it. But my military experience certainly helped me, because when they brought me in for the photo sessions, they wanted someone who I was comfortable with the weaponry and the tools that they gave me. So having that military background and experience, it wasn't something foreign to me to pick up a weapon and be able to go through the tactical movements that I think that they really needed. So that was instrumental for me, and that experience has really come in handy.
Did they ask you during your audition about that?
I think they knew that I had military experience. When I went in for the audition, it was like any TV and film audition, but I
Hmm.
didn't know what the project was. It was very clandestine. And it wasn't until I was in the casting office with the casting director that she told me, and the casting director, lovely lady by the name of Ivy Eisenberg. She's been involved with Call of Duty and a few other really high profile games. And she said, hey, by the way, this is for the next Call of Duty video game.
Mm. You're like,
So yeah, there was that moment of like, excuse me, what? And I was that kid being like, oh my God, this is such a great opportunity. And about a week and a half later, I got the news that I had booked it and that I'd be going in for facial and body scanning and the creation of the character. So I worked with the group of character designers and consultants to come in, and they put me in many different outfits, went through all these series of photo sessions to try and create something that they seemed ecstatic and really happy. And it's shown. I mean, they did give me a hint that they would be using my character in a lot of the promotional material leading up to the release of the game. And even beyond that, there's still other things that are coming out to promote the game on multiplayer and zombies that they keep using the character for, which is exciting.
is the game out already, or is this a holiday coming up?
The game did release on November 13th, the game
Okay.
released, but they keep releasing downloadable content, what they refer to
Oh.
as DLCs. So for those multiplayers and those gamers that are out there playing in teams, every so often there's new content that they can download. Sometimes it might be a patch to something that they're having issues with.
Mm.
Sometimes it can be new maps, new areas that they can utilize in multiplayer. And sometimes it's new, what they call skins, which is new outfits for each character. And I think they've already released 2 different outfits for my character.
So I'm not a new gamer. I'm like old school, 80s, Duke Nukem. That was my deal back then.
Same here.
So how
For
does it
sure.
work? Since you have different scenarios here, how many, what's the shoot like for you? Like how many days?
Well, for me, because I was mostly utilized for the character creation, and I knew right off the bat that it was going to be for the multiplayer and zombie. I didn't know really that it was going to be for zombies. I knew it was going to be for multiplayer.
Mm.
So there was no need for me to go in and do motion capture. There
Okay.
was very minimal amount of facial capture that was utilized, where they put a helmet on me with a camera and they had me go through a series of expressions and say a series of verses that they would then record my movement of my face.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we were done with that, then we moved into the different outfits where they had me go through a series of poses, hold those poses, and then they would rotate me, a quarter turn until it was a 360-degree image of me. And then they'd take me into there was several things here. They'd take me into a scanning booth to do a body scan.
Mm.
And then they'd take me into this facial dome scan where I had to sit in this chair, look straight ahead, and they would show me an example of the facial expression they wanted from me. And then I would have to go into that expression and hold it. And these cameras all around would take pictures and flutter. It would turn off and then turn on and flash in my face, taking a 360-degree view of my head. So it was a quite complicated process, but it was well worth the time spent.
Wow. So they create all those scenarios, and that just amazes me that they're able to do that. What do they call that? When the user chooses like which direction they go to. I mean, they have to create.
Yeah, all that movement that they utilize. It's the scenarios that play out is something that they generate, in the game itself. And I don't even have to be present for that stuff. It's amazing to see all the movements that my character is doing, but it wasn't me. They didn't record me doing those movements.
Yeah. But in the old days, they used to do that, right?
Right. And they still do it with motion capture, especially for the cinematic,
Yeah.
Portions that they have in the video game. They did have actors act those roles out and act those scenarios out. But in my particular scenario, it was just capture my body, scan my face, and then they could basically put that into a computer and have the computer generate whatever movement they wanted my character to portray. So that was really interesting to see that.
So have you ever snuck in on a session and see like who's doing what with your character?
I have been looking at some of the online videos that some of the gamers have posted on some of the social media sites. So I've been able to see that and seen all the different ways that my character has been killed, all the different ways in which my character kills. So it's very interesting to see that.